Heavenly Father, we come to you in this hour, asking for your guidance and protection to our virtual gathering today. We thank you for the gift of life, the gift of family, the gift of work, and the gift of friendship. We thank you for this great opportunity to bring us together in this session as brothers and sisters. Bless the committee, the facilitator, and the attendees of this gathering. May we continue to value and appreciate the true essence and meaning of life with the help of your grace. And as we go along to our discussion today, we humbly pray that you would deepen our understanding. Lord, enlighten us and give us wisdom every day. Forgive us for our shortcomings and remind us to always be mindful of the things we do in life. We offer our life and our decisions to you, O Lord. May this gathering today create a memorable experience and a fruitful outcome. We ask this through our Lord Jesus Christ, our Redeemer and our Savior. Amen.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to another session of our big lecture for empowerment technologies. Before we proceed, I would just like to remind everybody that we'll be having a game immediately after our discussion, and this is a priced game. So there's a prize that awaits for those who will top the game. No, so yeah. So let's proceed with the lecture for Module 3, which is about online safety, security, and ethics. Hi, everyone. Good day, and welcome to the third session of our big lecture for the subject Empowerment Technology. Today, we will talk about the third module of our course, which is Online Safety, Security, and Ethics. And if we still have time, we will talk about how to browse safely online. So, before we start, let me introduce myself. I'm Jade Montemayor, the web administrator of MySoul, and at the same time, a faculty here at Silliman University. So here are the learning outcomes for today's discussion. So at the end of this discussion, you should be able to perform the following. So consider one's and others' safety when sharing information using the internet. So basically, you're going to determine and avoid the dangers of the internet. Second, you should be responsible in the use of social networking sites. In general, be responsible in the use of websites and browse the internet efficiently and properly through proper referencing. Internet has always been a part of the young generation. Being online, as what they call it, is more or less like a part of your everyday lives, right? So now, before we proceed, I want to ponder on this question. I want you to ponder on this question. I want you to ask yourself, am I safe online? Or does it even matter? So what do you think, guys? According to the survey by Data Portal as of the first quarter of this year, which is 2022, a Filipino internet user on average uses around 10 hours and 27 minutes a day of the internet. So that's just this survey was taken around January of 2022. Now, on the same survey, it says that an average Filipino internet user spends around 4 hours and 6 minutes a day on social media. So, what does this imply? Now, let's say all the other factors are constant. No, so let's try to calculate your actual usable time within the day. So it's as simple as we're going to subtract your sleeping hours with the actual total hours in a day. So like for example, we have 24 hours in a day. We're going to subtract 8 hours as recommended sleeping time. So in totality, within a day, we only have 16 hours actual usable time. Now, with the given usable time that we have, we're going to get the percentage of what is 10 hours and 27 minutes of that 16 hours. And with that, we can get 0.65 or we have 65%. So this means that 65% of our daily lives as internet users here in the Philippines is spent on the internet. Now, does it even matter? Yes, it does, because it is a big chunk of your life. It is a big chunk of your everyday life, right? So, knowing too well that internet plays a vital part in our lives, here are some tips to stay safe online. So, first, you should be mindful of what you share online and what site you share it to, right? So, in a world run by technology, it's no surprise that many of us spend countless hours on our phones, on our laptops and tablets, and many other devices within that context. No, so these devices have the internet, and we know that with the internet, it is an open world of endless websites that interest, educate, and connect us. So some of the most popular websites, especially for youth like you guys, are social networking sites. Now, millions of users have accounts on sites such as Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, perhaps, in which we share some of our most important ideas, opinions, and of course, the occasional update of what you had for lunch. So these sites keep us in touch with our family, friends, and the rest of the world, full of people we've never even met. So what's the point in all of this? Sometimes being mindful of what you share and what site you share it to could cost you your education. You know why? Nowadays, colleges and scholarship providers, they uses social media as a way to background check students or applicants. So, for example, if you are applying to a particular college, right? So, if your profile contains nothing but foul language and pictures of parties you go to every weekend, your application could be quickly declined versus the profile that seems more professional. So colleges nowadays wants to make sure, or they want to make sure that who they are accepting will represent the school or their school in the best way possible, right? So that's one thing. Are you also aware of RA 10175? So sorry for that. Let me go back. So RA 10175, it is known as the Anti-Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. So part of the punishable acts stated. Hi everyone, good day, and welcome to the third session of our big lecture for the subject Empowerment Technology. Today we will talk about the third module of our course, which is Online Safety, Security, and Ethics. And if Hi everyone, good day, and welcome to the third session of our big lecture for the subject Empowerment Technology. Today, we will talk about the third module of our course, which is Online Safety, Security, and Ethics. And if we still have time, we will talk about how to browse safely online. So, before we start, let me introduce myself. I'm Jade Montemayor, the web administrator of MySoul, and at the same time, a faculty here at Silliman University. So here are the learning outcomes for today's discussion. So at the end of this discussion, you should be able to perform the following. So consider one's and others' safety when sharing information using the internet. So basically, you're going to determine and avoid the dangers of the internet. Second, you should be responsible in the use of social networking sites. In general, be responsible in the use of websites and browse the internet efficiently and properly through proper referencing. Internet has always been a part of the young generation. Being online, as what they call it, is more or less like a part of your everyday lives, right? So now, before we proceed, I want to ponder on this question. I want you to ponder on this question. I want you to ask yourself, am I safe online? Or does it even matter? So, what do you think, guys? According to the survey by Data Portal as of the first quarter of this year, which is 2022, a Filipino internet user on average uses around 10 hours and 27 minutes a day of the internet. So that's just this survey was taken around January of 2022. Now, on the same survey, it says that an average Filipino internet user spends around 4 hours and 6 minutes a day on social media. So, what does this imply? Now, let's say all the other factors are constant. No, so let's try to calculate your actual usable time within the day. So it's as simple as we're going to subtract your sleeping hours with the actual total hours in a day. So like for example, we have 24 hours in a day. We're going to subtract 8 hours as recommended sleeping time. So in totality, within a day, we only have 16 hours actual usable time. Now, with the given usable time that we have, we're going to get the percentage of what is 10 hours and 27 minutes of that 16 hours. And with that, we can get 0.65 or we have 65%. So this means that 65% of our daily lives as internet users here in the Philippines is spent on the internet. Now, does it even matter? Yes, it does, because it is a big chunk of your life. It is a big chunk of your everyday life, right? So, knowing too well that internet plays a vital part in our lives, here are some tips to stay safe online. So first, you should be mindful of what you share online and what site you share it to, right? So in a world run by technology, it's no surprise that many of us spend countless hours on our phones, on our laptops and tablets and many other devices within that context, no. So these devices have the internet, and we know that with the internet, it is an open world of endless websites that interest, educate, and connect us. So some of the most popular websites, especially for youth like you guys, are social networking sites. Now, millions of users have accounts on sites such as Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, perhaps, in which we share some of our most important ideas, opinions, and of course, the occasional update of what you had for lunch. So these sites keep us in touch with our family, friends, and the rest of the world, full of people we've never even met. So what's the point in all of this? Sometimes being mindful of what you share and what site you share it to could cost you your education. You know why? Nowadays, colleges and scholarship providers, they uses social media as a way to background check students or applicants. So, for example, if you are applying to a particular college, right? So, if your profile contains nothing but foul language and pictures of parties you go to every weekend, your application could be quickly declined versus the profile that seems more professional. So colleges nowadays wants to make sure, or they want to make sure that who they are accepting will represent the school or their school in the best way possible, right? So that's one thing. Are you also aware of RA 10175? So sorry for that. Let me go back. So RA 10175, it is known as the Anti-Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. So part of the punishable acts stated in this law is cyber libel. So you know what cyber libel is? So cyber libel, it's basically taken from the definition of what a libel is, but it's cyber because it's being done online. So it's a published false statement that is damaging to a person's reputation and is committed through a computer system or any other similar means. So as what I've said, it's taken from the definition of what a libel is. It's, it's just that this cyber libel is committed through a computer system or any other similar means. So here are some of the other acts that is punishable under RA 10175. You have cyber sex, as what I've said, a libel, we have child pornography, or any offenses against the strict confidentiality, integrity, and availability of computer data and information. So for an instance, illegal access and interception, interference of data, incorrect use of devices, computer-related offenses, cyber squatting, and or any computer-related theft or identity. So those are just some of the crimes that are punishable under RA 10175. But as what I've said, you should be careful of anything that you post online because it could constitute to a cyber libel. Next is do not just accept terms and conditions. You always have to read it. You need to always be reading the terms and conditions so that you know what you are getting yourself into, right? So, for example, you are installing an app. Let's just say you download it from Google Play Store or from Apple Store. And part of the terms and conditions in using this app is that you will log in via your mobile number. And that your mobile number will be shared to a third party company. So, probably an advertisement company. So, what will happen? Don't be surprised if one of these days you will start receiving product promotions from unknown numbers, right? For me, as a personal experience, I do receive product promotions from varying numbers. So your privacy is very important. And if you just skim the terms, you could find that your details are being passed on to third party companies without your knowledge. While it can be tempting to ignore the terms and conditions in order to, speed up the process, you should try to read them every single time you need to. This way, you won't need to deal with the repercussions of tight terms that you weren't aware of when you agree to the terms and conditions. So, the truth of the matter is no one wants to waste time in reading the terms, but there are advantages to doing so. Okay? So I hope that moving forward, whenever you use a new application or you sign up to a new platform and you have to you have to agree to the terms and conditions, always read what is inside or what is stipulated in the terms and conditions. So what we have here is a sample terms and conditions. Likely, for example, if you are an Android user and it's the first time to use the phone, you are going to sign in to a Samsung account, right? So these are the standard uh, terms and conditions of what a Samsung account is, and it says here that for you to proceed, you have to either you have to agree with the terms and conditions. So by checking the boxes, you acknowledge that you have read and agreed the terms of the following terms. So really, you just have to read the terms and conditions, the privacy policy, data combination policy. Yes, it would take up your time, but it's always advantageous on your part to read what is stipulated inside the terms and conditions, because who knows what are they doing with your data, right? So another tip in terms of staying safe online is you have to check out privacy policy page of a website to learn how website handles the information you share. So this is more or less synonymous with the previous, tip in staying safe online. So a privacy policy, it is a legal document or statement that discloses the way in which a website collects, processes, stores, shares, and protects user data. So the purposes for doing so and the rights of the user in that regard. All websites interact with and collect data about their visitors, right? In one way or another. I hope you are familiar with the term cookie. So basically, cookie is like when you go to a website, it always asks you that if you want to accept the cookie. So it's more or less like a digital footprint, so that the owner of that website, the server of that website, will know that someone visited their website given this particular cookie. So for this reason, a privacy policy is vital as it protects the website owners and customers alike. Like us, we are the customers of the website, while also ensuring that your website complies with legal obligations. So you also have to check the privacy policy, just to make sure that the website would confer to the standards in terms of handling privacy policy or customer private information as they are browsing with the website. So next we have know the security features of the social networking site you use. So for this one, we will know that our main concern is safety and data privacy, right? So take for an instance, we have Facebook. These are some of the security features that is posted in their site, right? So if you go to the Facebook, basically you can actually check the security features of Facebook. So security checkup, so that's one of the security features. Security checkup will help you. So first, get alerts when someone tries to log in into your account from unrecognized computer or mobile device. So the second, learn how to protect your password. And number three, this is from Facebook, guys. Security checkup. Enable two-factor authentication. So what is two-factor authentication? So if you notice, like for example, email, diba? We are very familiar with this one. When you sign in to your email in an unrecognized device, so basically this is the first time that you sign into this device, you will be asked to either enter a code or to press yes on your mobile phone or to get a security code from your mobile device. So that's two-factor authentication. So aside from the usual password that you have, you will be asked to at least confirm from a different device that it's really you who is accessing your email. So that's two-factor authentication. Now, also in Facebook, you can also log out on Facebook on another computer, phone, or tablet. So like for example, if you suspect that someone might be using your Facebook from a different device, then of course you can always log out from Facebook on another computer, phone, or tablet. So how to do that? It's actually in the settings of Facebook. So those are just some of the security features of the social networking sites that we have right now. So if I were you, just explore what are the security features. For example, if you are an Instagram user, or for example, if you're a TikTok user, so know what are the security features of that site, of that social networking site that you are using. Okay. And then we have this one. Do not share your password with anyone. I hope this is logical, right? Do not share your password with anyone. First is you comprise your account security if you're going to share your password with anyone. So when you share your password with another person, you essentially grant them access to not only that account, but basically every account you own that uses the same password, right? I hope you take note of that. You're not just giving them access to that specific account, but any of your account with the same password. Now, one risk of sharing passwords is that your account immediately becomes much less secure. So the moment that you share your password, it also becomes much less secure. So even if you trust the person to whom you give your password, they might not store it in a secure location, or they might keep it in a compromised device. So opening it to potential theft and thus putting you or your account at risk. Okay? So it is hugely important that you're careful about to whom you give your password to. It can be your parents, it can be your siblings, it can be your loved one, be careful in terms of sharing your password. As a general rule, do not share your password to anyone. Okay? So also, your name can be used, right? When you share your password, your name can be used. Remember, if a person uses your credentials to log into an account, they will be on your account, meaning that any action that carry out will be done in your name because that's your account. If the person then chooses to engage in harmful activities or access inappropriate content, with your account, it will be you who faces the consequences. And in some cases, this can be serious, right? So take note of that. If the person chooses to engage in harmful activities or access inappropriate content, it would be under your name because that is your account. Of course, this is not only restricted to the person you gave the password to. If they don't store your information securely, this may also be done by third parties who manage to get their hands on your details because you give your password to that person. So always remember, as a general rule, as much as possible, do not share your password with anybody. Now, for some reason, if you do share your password to anyone, make sure you change it after. Okay? If there are those cases where you really have to share your password to your classmate or to your friend or to your parents or to your siblings, after that, change your password. Okay? But those are just extreme cases. So again, as what I've said, as a general rule, do not share your password with anyone. Okay, next we have avoid logging into public networks or public Wi-Fi. We all know that nowadays, because of the ICT project that was launched, I think that was 2018, we now have a lot of public Wi-Fis in public places. Like, for example, if you go to the malls, if you go to plazas, if you go to terminals like seaports or airports, they do have public Wi-Fi available, right? But as a general rule, also avoid logging into public networks or Wi-Fi. So the same features that make Wi-Fi free hotspots desirable to consumers make them desirable also to hackers, right? So namely, that it requires no authentication to establish a network connection. So this creates an amazing opportunity for the hacker to get unfiltered access to unsecured devices, like for example, your phone, which is on the same network. So I think it's good that nowadays most of the Wi-Fi's, on public places requires authentication, but some of those public networks does not require authentication, and that's where the loophole begins. So the biggest threat to free Wi-Fi security is the ability for the hacker to position himself between you and the connection point. So instead of, talking directly with the hotspot, you're sending your information to the hacker who then relays it on, relays it on a third party, relays it on any other devices that could store information from your device. So while working in this setup, the hacker has access to every piece of information you're sending out on the internet, right? Because the hacker stands between you and the hotspot. So whatever it is that you are sending online, the hacker will have access to it. Like, for example, important emails, credit card information, and even security credentials to your, if, for example, to your school. Now, once the hacker has that information, he can, at his leisure, access your system as if he were you. So take note of that. So hackers can also use an unsecured Wi-Fi connection to distribute malwares. So later on, we will talk about what are the different malwares, right? So if you allow file sharing across a network, the hacker can easily plant infected software on your computer. Now, some ingenious hackers have even managed to hack the connection point itself, causing a pop-up window to appear during the connection process, offering an upgrade to a piece of popular software. And, when you click that particular pop-up, it would install the malware on your PC. So you should always be careful. Pop-ups, be careful of those. And again, as what I've said, you should always be careful in terms of how you connect to public Wi-Fi's because there is a vulnerability in those kinds of network. So if you're in a public place and then if you have available data, then just use the data of your phone. Do not connect to public Wi-Fi. Okay, so that's a general rule. Avoid logging in to public networks or Wi-Fi. So next we have add friends in social networking sites, it's called social networking sites because it's all about making connections, right? Being social. So as a general rule too, add friends you know in real life. So it's funny, because when Facebook started, uh, it's more about competing which friend has the largest number of friends. But nowadays, it's really important to have you trim down your friends list and make sure that your friends list are your friends in real life. Okay, that's a general rule. Stop adding strangers just to make sure that just to show to the public that you have a large fan base. So make sure that you add friends in real life. So next is avoid visiting untrusted websites. So how do you know that this particular website is an untrusted website? So here are some of the tips that you can do in terms of checking if a website is untrusted or not. So never click on a link embedded in an email, right? So if you send someone you trust, even if it's sent from somebody that you trust, always type the link into your browser. So we all know that we do have emails, right? And with the given emails that we have, sometimes we receive emails that contains a link. So it says here that you need to update this particular account. To update, click here. So please don't do that. If you want, you can type that particular website on the URL part of in the address bar of your browser. Avoid clicking any links mm, inside the email. Okay, that's a general rule. Now, second, use your common sense. Does a website look strange to you? Is it asking for sensitive personal information? So what are the sensitive personal information? It's your first name, middle name, your last name, your mother's maiden name, your credit card information if you have, your bank information if you have. So those are some of the sensitive personal informations. So again, you have to look at the website. Does it look strange? Is it asking for any personal information? If it looks unsafe, don't take the risk. Okay? So common sense. If the website looks unsafe to you, don't take the risk. Okay, next is you have to look for signs of legitimacy. Okay? Does the website list contact information or some signs of a real world presence? It has to be legitimate. Now, if doubtful, contact them by phone or email to establish their legitimacy. You know, legitimate websites have a valid contact. And if you are doubtful if the website is legit or not, and if you see that there's a contact them just to check if this website really is a legitimate one. Okay? So look for signs of legitimacy. Next is read the URL carefully. Again, read the URL carefully. If this is a website you frequently visit, is the URL spelled correctly? You have to ask yourself, is the URL spelled correctly? Oftentimes, phishers will set up websites almost identical to the spelling of the site you're trying to visit. Now, an accidental mistype may lead you to a fraudulent version of the site. So you always have to check, is this the right spelling of the website? Because if it's not, that could be a fraudulent site, right? So be careful with that one. Now, if it looks, this is another tip. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. So what I've said, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Is the website offering you a product or service at an unheard price of? So for example, there's this particular product, and if you search it up on other, e-commerce website, it could cost around 5,000 to 6,000 pesos. But on this particular website, it only cost you around 500 pesos. So what? Common sense, right? If it's too good to be true, it's probably is. Or maybe they are promising you a huge return on investment if you're going to invest. If the offer looks too good to be true, you have to trust your instinct. Do some research to find reviews or warnings from other users, right? So you have to educate yourself about those kinds of websites. You have to do your own personal research, particularly if you want to buy something or if you want to invest in something, right? So, as what I've said, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And then lastly, you have to check the properties of any links. Again, check the properties of any links. Right clicking a hyperlink and selecting properties, you know, hyperlinks are links that leads you to another site, right? So you just have to, if there's a website and then there are hyperlinks, you have to right click on the hyperlink and go to properties, and it will reveal the true destination of the link. Okay, if you want to reveal the true destination of a hyperlink, right click and then go to properties. Does it look different from what it claimed to lead you to? So if it did, then don't access it. Okay? You should always, or you should also always be on the lookout for the clues and telltale that you are on a malicious website. After all, it is by smart people noticing something wrong and reporting it to the above tools, and I mean reporting it to the above tools can do their job, right? So again, as what I've said, you should always take a look at the telltale signs that this particular website is untrusted or not. Let me remind you once again, what are those signs? First is if it's a sign sent via email, so never click on a link embedded in an email. Second, you have to use your common sense. Number three, look for signs of legitimacy. Number four, read the URL carefully. And then number five, if it looks too good to be true, it's because it is. And lastly, check the properties of any links. Okay, so those are just some of the tips in terms of, checking if a website is untrusted or not. Then another tip in terms of staying online is that you have to install and update an antivirus software on your PC or on your computer. So as of today, the only mobile device that is not affected by virus is the iPhone, right? So why is there a need to install and update your software? So first, why install? So antivirus products works by detecting, quarantining, and or deleting malicious code to prevent malware from causing damage to your device. So modern antivirus products update themselves automatically. So if you have an antivirus, usually the update is automatic na to provide protection against the latest viruses and other types of malware. So don't you know that every day, this is a fact, this is the statistics, right? There are around 350,000 new species of malware created every day. And these are potentially unwanted applications, PUA, right? So every day, around 3,000, I mean, not 3,000, but 350,000 new malwares are produced every day, potentially risky to your PCs or your device. So it's very important that if you install an antivirus software in your computer, you have to update it. And if you don't have an antivirus software pa, you need to have one. Okay? So always install and update computer antivirus on your devices. So talking about malwares, what are some forms of malwares? So part of the discussion in module 3 is that we talk about computer risks, and part of the computer risk is we have the malwares, right? So here are some of the forms of malwares. So we have virus, we have worms, we have trojans, spyware, adware, and ransomware. So these are just some of the common malwares that we encounter in our devices. So Viruses are a subgroup of malware. So a virus is malicious software that attaches itself to a document. So if you remember, guys, virus in real life um, doesn't have an effect on its own, right? It needs to attach to a host and then it will become alive. So that's same with computer virus. It needs to have a host to infect a PC. So for example, a host can be a file, it can be a program, or any other exe to have that for it to infect the PC. Now, worms on the other hand doesn't need a host. Worm itself can replicate, just like with virus, they can also replicate. But again, as what I've said, in terms of effect, they're more likely the same. It's just that the virus itself needs to have a host, like a host file or a host application. But worms, it doesn't needs a host. Now, in terms of effect, more or less, they're the same. So now, Trojan viruses are disguised as helpful software, right? So again, as what I've said, Trojan viruses are disguised as helpful software. But once the user download it, the Trojan virus can gain access to sensitive data and then can modify, block, or delete the data. So take note of that. They are disguised as helpful software programs. But if you download that particular Trojan, it can gain access to sensitive data and then modify, block, or delete that data. So that's what a Trojan is. And then we have spyware. So spyware is a malicious software that runs secretly on a computer and reports back to a remote user. Hence the word spy or spyware. Again, it runs on the back of your PC secretly, and then it remotes and then it reports back to a user, to a remote user. So rather than simply disrupting a device, like what most malwares do, like for example virus, rather than simply disrupting a device operations, spyware targets sensitive information and can grant remote access to predators. That's the main reason why spyware exists. So it's often used to steal financial or personal information. So a specific type of spyware, which is also part of module 3, is keylogger. So what is keylogger? It basically records every keystrokes in your PC. So the main purpose of which is to reveal your password, right? So whatever key that you're pressing in your PC, it actually records it. So that's a keylogger. And that's part of spyware. And then we have adware. So adware is a malicious software used to collect data on your computer usage and provide appropriate advertisement to you. So you might encounter this at one point. There's just sudden pop-ups in your PC, product promotions. Those are caused by adware. And then we have ransomware. It is a malicious software that gain access to sensitive information. Again, most of the malwares, especially if the purpose is to take something from your PC, most of the time they are taking sensitive information from your PC. So ransomware is a malicious software that gains access to sensitive information within a system, encrypts the information so that the owner cannot access it, and then demands a financial payout for the data to be released, right? So that particular perpetrator will gain access to your sensitive data. They're going to encrypt it, lock it in a folder so that you cannot access your own personal data, and then they're going to demand money from you so that you will be given access to your data. That's what ransomware is. So those are just some types of malwares. Again, we have virus, we have worms, trojans, spyware, adware, and ransomware. And then we have this one. If you have Wi-Fi at home, make it private network by adding a password. So by default naman, most of the Wi-Fis nowadays, if you have it at home, by default, it do contain a password. But as a general rule too, you always have to change your password at least once a month. Okay, if neighbors will know your password, they're going to connect to your Wi-Fi. So probably it would consume your bandwidth. And not only that, it would also add risk in terms of security risk of your Wi-Fi, because if they will have access to it, they might have access to any devices that's connected to it. So it's always a must that if you have a Wi-Fi at home, first it needs to have a password, and then secondly, at least update your password once a month. Okay. Next, avoid downloading anything from untrusted websites. We talk about untrusted websites. So if these are untrusted websites, then don't download anything from that website, because anything coming out from an untrusted website is an untrusted software. It's a malware. So yeah, you all know how to check if the website is untrusted or not. And if it's an untrusted website, do not deal with it. Do not download anything from that website. So this one, another tip is you have to buy the software. Do not use pirated ones. So nowadays, um, this is what the scenario is. I'm pretty sure you've heard of the word crack software. So like for example, Microsoft Word, crack MS Office tool is actually available in the market right now. So those are pirated ones, right? And you do not know what are the codes that may be embedded on those pirated ones. So if you want to have the legit, the secure software, you have to buy the software. Yes, it could cost you some money, but in terms of do not risk or do not gamble the security of your software because it cost you lesser money. So you have to invest in terms of security of your devices. So you have to buy the software. Do not use pirated ones. And lastly, I think this is the last one. Do not reply or click links from suspicious emails. So we already talked about this one, as this is one of the recommendations in terms of checking if the website is legitimate or not. So if it's a link coming from an email, as what I've said, do not click or do not reply those links inside email. So the rule is, even if this is an email um, coming from a person you trust, coming from a friend, coming from someone in your office or a classmate, as a general rule, or you can go and right click on that particular link and go to properties and check if it's really going to that link, because maybe it would lead you to a different site. Okay. So if you receive an email from a friend, always get back to them, and then ask them what the link is all about and if this is a legit one or not. So those are some of the tips in terms of staying safe online. It basically summarizes what we have for module 3. So if you have questions, feel free to ask now. We will be having our Q&A after this one. So once again, guys, good morning. And that's basically the end for our module 3 lecture. So if you have questions, you can ask it now before we proceed to our game. So we will have a Kahoot game after our open forum. Sige. So I'm guessing there's none, no, from the group. All right. So if there's none, then we can go ahead and proceed with our game. So I want you to go to start with the game. I'm pretty sure you are familiar with how Kahoot works, right? So I will be sending a link in the chat box. I want you guys to go to kahoot.it. So there will be prizes for the first, the second, the third, scorer or the leading scorer for our game. And the pin, so I'm just going to share na lang the screen so that you can see. So share screen. Or I'll just type the pin in the chat box. It's 5766887. So that's the pin. So that's the pin of our Kahoot for this morning. So I want you guys to go to kahoot.it and then use your real name so that we can identify the winner. Okay, we have Gabe now. Okay. Sige. Use your real name ha para mabalaan nato kinsa ang winner. So we have 11 questions, 11 items, 20 seconds per item. Sige. Let's wait for the others. So the items are taken from the previous discussion that we had. Those who are watching from YouTube, yes, you can join. Just go to kahoot.it and then the game pin is 5766887. We now have 70, 80 participants in running. Sige. Okay, let's just wait for the others. Okay, maybe we're expecting around 100 plus participants. So, sige. Okay, so I guess we can start now. We have 102 participants. Oh no, it's still moving. Sige lang, let's just wait. Okay, 115. Sige, so let's count down. 1 more minute for you to join the game. 1 more minute and then we're going to start the game. Okay, 30 seconds. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go ahead and start our game. So once again, non-share prize for the first, the second, the third leading scorer. Okay, so there are items that is worth 1 point and other items are worth 2 points. It depends upon the difficulty of the item, right? Let's go ahead and start. Okay, I want you to focus on the device that you are using for Kahoot. So question number 1, it is a type of malware that disguises itself as a helpful program. So The quicker you answer, the bigger your score is. What do you think? Okay. The correct answer is Trojan. Many of you got it wrong. You have virus, but the majority got it right. So we have Trojan. Sige, let's check who is the leader of our scoreboard. We have De La Vega. Kinsa ni si De La Vega? Sorry, let me just. Okay, it's De La Vega, no? Sige, so we have De La Vega now at number 1 at the first spot. So let's check the second question. Okay. Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012 is also known as what Republic Act? The quicker you answer, the higher your score is. It's RA. That's RA 10175. Yes, majority got it right. Others got it confused with RA 157. So again, Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012 is RA 10175. So let's check at the scoreboard. Okay, Nate now is at the top, followed by Christine Don, Steve, Seth, and Mark. Okay, sige. Question number 3. It's another multiple choice. So the average time spent of a Filipino user. What is our average internet time spent daily? So what could it be? 5 more seconds to answer. Okay, so that's 10 hours and 27 minutes. Okay, majority got it right. Let's see who's the top leader now. Okay, we have Christine now at number 1, followed by Samantha, Gio, Seth, and Sir Yun. Okay, so next question. It's a true or false question. Philippines has the highest time spent on the internet in the Asia Pacific region. Is it true or false? The Philippines has the highest time spent on the internet in the Asia Pacific region. Is it true or false? What do you think? It's a true, right? So at 10 hours and 27 minutes a day, we are the highest in terms of time spent daily. So let's proceed and check the scoreboard. It doesn't move from 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Isha now at number 5. So next question, it's another true or false. Do not waste your time reading the terms and condition. Agree at once and proceed. Is it a true or false? 5 more seconds. Okay, it's false because you always have to read the terms and conditions. So, inaalagi 16. Sige lang. Go. Next. Scoreboard. It's or more or less the same with the first and the second one. We have Seth now, Gio, and Nina at third and fourth, fifth, respectively. So, sige. Next. Another multiple choice question. It's double points. It is a legal document that discloses how a website manages user data, the purpose for doing so, and the user rights. So this is double points. It's 2 points, kumbaga. A legal document, how a website manages your data, the purpose for doing so, and the user rights. What document is this? It's the privacy policy. Okay, so majority got it at terms and conditions, but the correct answer is privacy policy. So let's check the scoreboard. So the first and second one, it's the same. We have Christine and Samantha. We now have Nina, Geraldine, and Jacqueline at third and fourth, fifth, respectively. Okay, so another true or false. If you think your FB account has been used in an unrecognized device, you can log it out from another device. Can you log out your Facebook from another device? Grabe na pa yung masayop. Ano no? Sige. Can you log out your Facebook from another device? Is it true or false? You can log out your Facebook from another device. It's true. Yes, you can use any device that you have to log out your Facebook from any other unrecognized device. So it's true. Let's check at the scoreboard. Okay. So same, Christine, Samantha, Nina. We have Jacqueline and Ada at number 4 and 5 place. So true or false? 8 of 12. Accumulate as many friends as you can in social media. Quantity first before quality. So if you have the chance, you accumulate as many friends, including strangers. So the rule is quantity first before quality. Is it true or false? It's a false, right? Because you have to add your friends in real life. So let's check at the scoreboard. It's the same. No movement, no, from the first place to the fifth place. Sige. Number 9, the third to the last question. Listed below are ways to check if a website is untrusted or not, except for one. Which one? Sige, asaan na ang dili? It's the green one because it says here, click. It should be do not click on a link embedded in an email. So the scoreboard. Okay. We now have Riandra at number 5. So 2 more questions. I mean 3 more. It's a double point, this one. According to reports, how many new pieces of malware are produced every day? So how many new pieces of malware are produced every day? Okay, very good. Majority got it right. It's 350,000 PUAs, so potentially harmful malwares. Okay, next, the scoreboard now. Oh, we have Mark now at number 5. So next, second to the last one. So listed below are some tips to stay safe online, except which one? Okay, that should be it. So you should always read it first before accepting. Okay, so let's check at the scoreboard. It's the same. And for the last question, this is the last one, and it's a double points. Part of a spyware that records all the keystrokes on your PC. Okay, it's keyloggers. So are you ready to see the winners, Grace? Let me check. So the third spot is Nina. Okay, we have Nina. Second, we have Samantha. And the first one, of course, we have Christine Dawn. Okay, so virtual a round of applause for our winners. We have Christine Don, we have Samantha, and then we have Ninia. So congrats, guys. I will just contact you in terms of your prize. Okay. So let me just stop the sharing. I'm not sure if Ma'am Lisa and Sir John are here. Sir John, are you here? Okay. Ma'am Lisa, are you here? Yeah, I think they're not.
Sir, nag-webinar po mi.
Ah, o-
Nag-multitask.
okay. So they're having
Yes.
another webinar, no? So any other announcement, ma'am, for your before we end today's session? Do you have an announcement for your class, maybe?
So far, wala. Dili kay ko kadungog.
Ah, okay.
Ikaw
Sige lang,
nagbalat
no?
sa kaya mo yan.
Sige, go. So I think that's it for today's session. So before we end, Grace, can we have a photo opportunity for the participants for today's session? Sige, if you can, kindly turn on your webcams. We will just be having some photo up for documentary purposes. So if you can turn on your webcams, that would be highly appreciated. So gallery. So Grace, kindly take the screenshot. Okay, so sige. Let's just wait for the others to open their webcams. This will be our last session for big lecture. So next for this is you're going to prepare now, or if you're done, congrats. But if, for those of you who are not done yet with the presentation of your performance task, good luck. Sige. Okay, first screen. All right. The second one. Okay, we have. Okay, we're done with the second one. We will now go to the third one. We have 7 tabs, by the way. So we're done with the third. We will now go to the fourth tab. Okay, and then number 5. Then we will have number 6. This is the 6th tab. And the last tab, which is the 7th tab. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for attending the last session of our big lecture. Have a great day. Goodbye, guys.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Thank you,
Bye, sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Thank
Bye,
you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye, sir.
Parang
Bye,
mawala.
sir. Thank you.